Hello, this is Sirrano with the New Jersey Pulse News. I had an appearance with Judge Ernest Caposela, who is the Chief Administrative Judge or the Administrative Judge Assignment Judge for the Passaic County, the Democratic Passaic County controlled here in New Jersey, Paterson being the base city that it is in. So you remember Joey Torres was charged with a crime, and they immediately took it out of here and sent it to Jersey City. Well, the 7 members of the Paterson City Council members were also charged with a crime, but the prosecutor, who I've shown you photos, is with them in the council chambers, celebrating, having fun, knowing each other, hugging, kissing, taking photos. She and all the judges here from the Democratic Party, which is Democratic-controlled county, seems to be one happy family, and they are keeping the cases here. So I want to play you an audio confrontation, and I want to say it's a confrontation that I had with the Chief Administrative Judge, Assignment Judge, Ernest Caposela. But let me give you the basis and the background of what's going on. For years, the Paterson City Council members, at least a few of them, has been terrorizing me, antagonizing me, bullying me, because I've been writing stories about their corruption in the city of Paterson. It's been basically 2 people, Andrew Saya and Elsa Mantilia. Aslan Gao, who got out of the line once, and Julio Tavares. All these people has received immunity from the parties here. So there are 16 cities. There are some of the cities borders out on Paterson that the Democrats control. So every time I file a complaint, when they come after my newspaper, it stays in Democratic control. So they've been just keeping it for years, 4 years, 3 years, then to find out, like the judge in Passaic City was actually friends with Andrew Saya, and he held the case for 3 years. Elsa Mantilia's case was held in Paterson for 4 years. They refused to take it to trial. They refused to prosecute it. They wanted it to be dismissed, me to forget about it. I didn't. In the Elsa Mantilia case, with the president of the Dominican parade, it uses a position to help all these high-powered officials believe that they get elected through her. They have been trying to get that case dismissed for a very long time. So last year I got fed up. Where's my cases? You know, they've been bullying me, going after me. Try them or just dismiss it. Let me see your corruption. So little by little they go after the cities and they dismiss it. They remand it. They keep it longer. And there's been little things that they have been doing with the cases. So in the last election in May 2016 election, I decided these people were too corrupted, they were incompetent, they had nothing to offer the city of Paterson, and it's time that they need to go. So on March 15th, I went through the microphone and I blasted all of them as being corrupted, having their own demons, while they're going after Joey Torres. It all started when I told them they're going after Joey, and now they're all corrupted. Am I defending Joey? But I'm just saying, if you're going after Joey, what about you? You've got your own demons. You've got your own wickedness. Why are you telling the community to go after Joey Torres when you're worse than him? And I said that. And from that day forward, the 9 members of the Paterson City Council decided to launch an attack on me. Because if you disagree with them, if you say anything bad about them, if you don't go along with them, they will punish you. And they sought to do that to me. So on one occasion, Bill McCoy is seen taking my newspaper on April 5th last year, 2016, dumping it out of the public area where the public won't get it, into the trash in the back. Then I had a little camera on a ledge that I've done for 9 years. And he says, remove your camera. And I said, I've been here for 9 years. Now we'll have a conflict. For 9 years, it wasn't an issue. Remove your camera. If you're going to get technical with me, I'm going to get technical with you. And that was the threat. That is enough threat to charge him. But I didn't charge him yet. So they called the cops. Cops came, removed my camera. So I removed the camera. Cops is looking at me and he said, turn it off. I said, turn it off. I'm not going to turn it off. And then me and him have a discussion. I said, officer, you tell me what you want me to do, and I'll do it. And while I'm saying that, he goes, take him out. And he uses authority to get that officer to punish me. The government cannot go after the press. In the Constitution of the United States, there's a special protection for the only business in the United States, which is the press, that the government cannot abridge. But they seem to be doing it here. And the reason that they're getting away with it is because the prosecutor is Democrat, the judge in the county is Democrat, the judge who's in charge of all the municipalities that's sending the cases where it can be manipulated is also in the Democratic Party. And Paterson brings in the majority Democratic vote that puts these guys in their offices and where they are. They don't appoint them, but they appoint the freeholders and everybody in that whole little family there. I know this. So on one occasion, I went to speak to on a microphone, and they decided they were not going to let me speak. So they set up the whole scheme where I will not get to speak. And I decided, well, wait a second, I have a right to speak. I'm going to play that for you, and then I'm going to get into the discussion I have today. I'm going to show you something here that is on, let's see, it should be, line up your right. This is a city council meeting. And in this council meeting, there's a live portion, and there is a regular other portion that's not put on live. So this is Bill McCoy, right? And at some point, they open up the meeting to the public. And this is the gentleman gets up to speak about a special part of the meeting. And then what happened is Bill McCoy's boy, who's part of his campaign, they allowed him to speak. At some point, the meeting was, Mendez made a motion to close the meeting. And McCoy looks over to this guy, who was Ernest Rucker, 3-time convicted felon, who's part of McCoy's campaign, and said, the way I see somebody, and he signaled him to come and speak. Well, his whole speech was about me. It wasn't about the city of Paterson. It was specifically towards me. He blasted me and said some really nasty, bad things. I'm not even going to play it and lend anything to it. So then after he speaks, they brought up this guy to speak. So here he's getting nasty, so I'm going to bring up the other guy, 141. So they brought up this guy, Donald Lynch. Mr. Sirrano. And before he spoke, I said something. I said this. Click back. Thank you. If he speaks, I have to speak because he didn't put his hand. If he speaks, I have to speak because he did not put his hand up. Notice he's looking at me. So the entire council knows once you have an open meeting, everybody has a right to speak to that meeting. It's a constitutional right that when the officials spoke, I'm going to do a whole show on this, but I don't want to do the entire thing there. But anyway, here's the Herald News. This is the Herald News, Joe Malacano. And he pays attention to it. He's watching the whole thing. And then after this guy runs into that, so he leaves. The whole thing was about me. Watch Joe Malacano. Wait a second, I have to speak because he didn't speak. So I'm yelling out, I have to speak, I have the right to speak. There's Joe Malacano. He's from the Herald News, he writes for the Herald News. So he heard the entire thing. Didn't say anything at the time because he usually protects the city council. So I'm saying if they speak, this second guy is part of one of their campaign, Mike Jackson, that is campaign person. He's trying to say he's not, but he was all over there. He picked the name for him. So their campaign people was politically motivated, politically controlled to have their two people, their whole speech was about me, and when I try to speak, they won't let me speak. I showed you this for a reason, because it's going to come up into what I'm saying right now. So there's Joe, everybody, and you're going to see Mike Jackson laughing at me. What's this happening? I'm still talking. Yes, Mr. President. We're going to go to the public portion. Councilman Jackson. Yes. Councilman Jackson. Yes. Councilman Jackson. Yes. Councilman Jackson. So this is him laughing at me, looking right at me, laughing that they blocked me from the meeting, and there's nothing that I can do against the government for what they did to me. Okay? Look at the nasty look in his face, and that's how they are at the Paterson City Council meeting when you don't agree with them and you don't hide your secrets and you don't go along with them and you continue with the corruption that they do, which was for 9 years, and I decided I had enough because Paterson was suffering too much for me to go along with them and not call them corrupted and useless. And here he is getting nasty and laughing at me, and McCoy acting like he did nothing wrong. So I showed you that because I went before Judge Caposela, and we discussed this case. We discussed this case coming up on the 18th of October. And so here is one of the discussions that I want to play for you, and then I'm going to explain what's happening here. But let me just set it up. Judge Miola is giving advice to the elected official's attorney on what defense to come up with. Now, you have two high-powered defense attorneys here. You have a pro se person at the hearing yesterday, which was the 20th, September 20th, 2017. These two attorneys are supposed to come up with a defense as to why my case, because I filed criminal charges against them. The criminal charges was based on I have a constitutional right to speak, so I have a benefit, I have a right. The government cannot abuse their power to deprive me of that right. And I'll read the law for you since they want to get smart. And if you're watching this and you're a member of the public and you think I'm wrong, I want you to email me at New Jersey Pulse, you have to spell it out, NewJerseyPulse@AOL.com, and tell me I'm wrong. I want you to be the jury. So 2C30. Okay. Official misconduct applies to police officers and elected officials. And here's what it says. A public servant, which is one of them, all of them, is guilty of official misconduct when, with purpose to benefit, to obtain a benefit for themselves. The benefit is they wanted to run for office, I wanted to stop them, and it's financial too because it's $41,000. Or another, if they try to help somebody else with their power. Or to injure or to deprive another of a benefit. Okay? Injure or deprive. I was deprived the right to speak at that microphone. I had a benefit that the Constitution awards me that nobody can take away from me. That means in front of the government, when they open up a public meeting, I have a right to speak. So I charged them with first violating my First Amendment right as the press and speech. I charged them for abusing their office, violating the oath of their office. They swore an oath to the Constitution that they would uphold the Constitution. Well, part of the Constitution was allowing me to speak, giving me the freedom to speak. They took that away from me that day, and they allowed ACAMP people to speak there. I go to a judge, and I'm going to set that up in a second. So this book tells you exactly what official misconduct is, and it guides you. If you are deprived of a benefit, you're deprived of a right that belongs to you, and the government in any way use their power to block you and take that right away, it's a criminal charge. This is a criminal code book. I brought my complaint not on a civil complaint, which I had the right to do, and I'll do that maybe later on or not. But I certainly have a right to a criminal code under official misconduct. They're trying to take that away. So they kept the cases in the Democratic-controlled Passaic County because they are going after the case. The case last year, on October 6, 2016, I went before Judge Miola, who's in charge of the 16 cities. He's a lower judge, but he's in charge of the 16 judges. And he said, I can't take the cases from Paterson. I can't take it. Paterson can't take it. He named a lot of cities. And if you look back at my other video, when I have his photo up there, Judge Miola, you will hear the audio on that. And he's conflicted. He cannot take any cases with the elected officials and me, right? So when I filed the cases against them, first set of cases, 105, violating my rights in every which way they did. He ordered that the cases will go to prompt and lex, or outside. It went to prompt and lex. She ruled against them. They did not like that. They did not like that this judge, Judith Akadi, voted against the Paterson Council members and ruled, I mean, not voted, but allowed charges, criminal charges against them. So what did the Democrats do? They sent in Miola to block Akadi from receiving any more of my cases because they know if it goes back to her, she's going to charge them. Grab all the cases away from her, blocked her from all cases, and then they grabbed it from all the other judges, kept it under Miola, who already said he's conflicted. He takes them, my new set of cases, because if you committed a crime once and you committed a crime twice, I have the right, if it's a duplicate crime, to charge him again. I charge him this time for removing my newspaper under the Sunshine Law, under my rights to be listed and receive information from the government so I can pass on to the people, which is the same thing. This time they cornered it into North Haledon, away from McCarty. They banned her now. She can't hear my cases. And they took it and they dismissed all 200, because it's a lot, because there's 9 council members and they committed a lot of crimes, so I added all the crimes they committed. And that's why it added up to so much. 12 people total. And he gutted all of it. He refused to listen to the law. Did they deprive me of a right? Yes, they did. Did I have a right under the Sunshine Law as the press to receive information from the government? Yes. Did they take that right away? Yes, they did. What's the problem? Democrats controlling Democrats. This is the Democratic county. Before, and I want you to go back to, I think, October 21st. And you will see a video as soon as they grab all the cases. I knew this was going to happen. I announced that video that I was very suspicious that they were going to dismiss the case because I knew that this guy, this Judge Miola, was conflicted. So anyway, he dismissed it. He fined me $6,900 per complaint. I have never seen that in the history of the court. And then the top judge, who is his friend and is trying to make me believe he's not, takes it. He Democrat, all Democrats, he did the damage. He grabs it, quarantines it, and it says if we label this guy as frivolous, if we label him as overfiling cases, we can use a law to control him. I'm not allowed to file any more cases when they abuse my rights. I'm not allowed to do that because now the Democratic judge have the Paterson officials' cases that I filed, and they're shaking because they know they have one purpose and one purpose alone: to get those charges dismissed. Find a way to block Sirrano, block the New Jersey Pulse, not get any more cases in, and if he comes for cases, quarantine his cases, block him and ban him from filing any more cases, and review it. Now I have to go to this same judge who didn't even hear appeal on Miola, and now he's saying frivolous, and this, it wasn't frivolous the first time it went in. You've heard the law. If the law says they commit a crime and they deprive of a right, they use their power, it's allowed. They don't want to do that because they know what's going to happen. Anyway, the prosecutor is now coming in, who's friends with them. The judges, who's friends with them, are now involved. So the entire Democratic Passaic County has strong-armed these of me against these officials. So here's what this judge did. This is the administrative judge. Here's how he's feeding a defense to the Paterson elected officials' lawyers. I want you to listen to this.
The complaint, the facts do not fit the elements of the nature of the charge. I guess that's different because the judge on probable cause, the standard was different. You know, the judge was determining whether there was a well-grounded suspicion that
I want you to remember, the facts does not fit the elements of the charge. He already just fed that to them. When you go before a judge like this is the top judge in Passaic County, all Democrats here, all in the same family. The defense is supposed to make an argument as to why this is not a right case to bring. The plaintiff or the victim is supposed to make his argument, no, it was done under the law. And then the judge listens to both sides and then give his findings. And then he gives his decision. This didn't happen here. He already gave them a hint in what he's about to do in October 18th last year. And the same way I predict that Miola was going to grab those cases and dismiss us, I am predicting this for you. They have 2 shots to get this case done. And here's the first one. He's talking about Judge Riccardi now.
Offense was committed and that the named defendants committed it. And she did conduct a hearing and she made some findings. But now then the issue becomes, can the defendants file motions to dismiss for reasons other than probable cause? And that is kind of what I think you're saying. You're saying that. Now,
I am going to put the end of this video, the entire thing for you to listen to it. He said that is what you're saying. And you're going to hear what he's putting words in these 2 lawyers' mouth. Putting words in their mouth as to what kind of defense he's looking for to dismiss this case. Because they didn't come up with this. This judge came up with it. And listen to what he told the Paterson City Council members and the attorney.
That the allegations in the complaint did not factually fit the elements of the criminal charge, or that a criminal charge is not the appropriate means to, that a criminal charge is not what occurred, it is not the proper avenue.
Okay, I'm going to stop at that. In the entire conversation with those lawyers, they never said that this was a civil complaint and a criminal action was not the appropriate avenue. He's saying it to them. He is saying to them that it's a civil case. In other words, spin it into a civil case, and if you spin it into a civil case, that's where we can go with this. I'm going to play the entire tape from the time he got up. He told me to sit down, and you're going to hear that. They never came up with this. He came up with this and is feeding them the answers as to how to do a defense where he would take authority and put it under there and dismiss this criminal act by an elected official to deprive somebody of a right under that law that I read you. So he's feeding them the answer that he's looking for and the premise by which he's going to dismiss these claims.
You're not 100%.
Now, here's what he said. You are 100% right, Your Honor. He's agreeing with the judge. So you see what just happened there? They just came up with a plot and they planned as to how they're going to dismiss these criminal charges against the 7 members of the Paterson City Council thing. So let's see how far they're going to go with this.
Not only do I feel it's not the proper avenue, but the one issue is I understand, and I only know the second hand, that literally hundreds of or dozens of complaints were heard on a particular morning.
That was Judge Miola. Yeah, that's another category of cases.
And there might have also been in prompted links. I don't think these were the only things.
Okay, well, we're going to continue to something else. But if you notice, I am going to leave the entire video. I just got this from the court. I am going to play it for you at the end. I just want to go over it with you. And I want you to tell me where in the world that attorney told this judge that the avenue that he's agreeing with happens to be a civil instead of a criminal case. So in the legal system, you do have the option to both cases. You can do a civil case and leave the criminal. You can do a criminal case, or you can leave the civil, or you have an opportunity, a right that is awarded to you to bring both. Normally when a police officer violates somebody's First Amendment rights for their due process, or they gave false information about them, or they doctored up things to have them arrested, that's violating their rights. And you can file a criminal complaint against a police officer for violating that person's First Amendment rights for due process or freedom of speech or something else. And then the person can turn around and sue the police department as well. What they're trying to do here is they're trying to say there's only one apple. And is it going to be criminal or is it going to be civil? That's what they're trying to say. They're trying to lie against the law. The law is it's a criminal act and it's a civil act. It's both. I chose this. All right? And I went before the judge, Accardi in Prompton Lakes. If she thought it was civil, why didn't she just say so in the first place? So what they want to do, and they're labeling my case as frivolous, right? Which there's no history of it. Then if you dismiss her, then you're saying that Judge Accardi, Judith Accardi from Prompton Lakes, is authorizing frivolous cases. You'll have to say that she doesn't know what she's doing. She didn't do the right thing. She wasted the court's time for 4 hours. Should we charge her for wasting the court's time for 4 hours? They want to diminish this judge's good judgment to charge them. So that's what they would have to do in order to get their scheme going. So I'm going to continue. And after about 20 minutes, I just sat there. I was in the court and I just sat there. They didn't want to talk to me. The judge, I'm supposed to be the one that was subpoenaed to come to court by order of the court. And then he's telling me, I never ordered you. I would never charge you, issue a warrant if you didn't show up. It says subpoena of the court from the criminal division, which is their criminal division, but I was ordered. And I know he was back talking a lot. So anyway, they had this long conversation on their own. I listened to the entire thing. I listened to him feeding him the answers and the defense for the Paterson officials, because I know it's all a Democratic theme here. and I was not going to win, but I wanted to make sure that I wanted evidence. I wanted the kind of evidence to show that there is corruption in Passaic County. I won already. I already won. By everything that has happened so far, I have won. So it's just a nail in the coffin for them to dismiss this, even though there's a big law behind it. So let's go to 1830, when he and I exchanged. So you're gonna hear my voice. You know, maybe it's the microphone. They give you this squeaky microphone, or maybe I was just passionate about what I had to say. But I went in there angry. I went in there angry because I know they are scheming like they did to dismiss the 200 complaints when they blocked that judge because she found cause. You're not going to take these cases anymore because you found probable cause against the Paterson officials. We want it here so we can dismiss it. We trusted you to dismiss it, and you didn't dismiss it. Now you're banned. We're going to take it. That's basically what's happening here. So finally I get to speak, and this is what happened.
All right, so those are the 4 categories. All right, so now Mr. Baldeo, I'm sorry, what do you want to say?
After they had a 20-minute discussion among themselves, I'm just sitting there like this. I'm biting my nails. I'm like, unbelievable. I thought this was my case, but apparently the long conversation with them is the scheme to get them in. But finally, I'm here 20 minutes later, kept my mouth quiet.
Why was I summoned here this morning?
Why was I summoned here this morning?
Against my will.
Against my will.
I'm sorry, what do you mean summoned against your
I
will?
was ordered to be here, or a warrant was going to be issued for me. Why was I asked to be here this morning when the entire conversation is with them?
See? Why are you asking me to come here when the entire conversation is with them?
No, it's not with them at all. You filed matters with the court too. So the first thing I want to tell you.
Okay, now, before we go on, when Judge Miola, I caught him lying that he was not conflicted the day of the 200 case hearing. I questioned him that, don't you have a conflict? And he denied it. He lied. Then I went and I pulled the CD that plays where he said he was in conflict with all the Paterson cases. And I caught him lying. That Judge Miola, John Miola from Hawthorne and North Haledon. So because he lied, and because based on that lie, he ruled on these cases to intentionally keep it and punish me, I filed criminal charges against him. Not for his decision, because they're trying to say, if you don't like the decision, no, if I don't like the decision, I file an appeal. I'm not stupid at the court, and I'm telling him this. But what I filed for is because he knew he was conflicted, and he still took the cases anyway, with the intent of willingly and intentionally dismissing it to protect the Paterson officials when he got mad that the prompt the next judge where he ordered the charges against the Paterson officials. That's what happened. So the first thing he launched at me is the complaint, because I said, after this guy got charged, this top judge jumps on his back and says, let's label Sirrano frivolous, those 200 cases, and let's punish him further with the fines, and let me take all the cases from now on and ban him from filing any cases, civil or otherwise, anywhere in the county. Not just the county, I'm sorry, all of New Jersey. He said that was his order. I read this, but I'm not going to go through all of that because it's going to be a long video. So anyway, we went through all of this, and the first launch attack on me is my complaint against him with the ACJC, which is the State Judicial Board on Conduct, Judges' Conduct. He's not supposed to mention this to me. He's not supposed to say anything to me about a complaint to the state that I filed against him. But watch him launched into it and listen to my response.
Is that, are you familiar with Canon 3 of the Rules of Judicial Conduct?
No.
Okay. You filed an ACJC complaint against me, correct?
And with Judge Miola as well, and with the Attorney General's office, and with the FBI.
Okay. So, do you understand that by filing an ACJC complaint against me, that doesn't automatically disqualify me? That in fact, the Canon 3 anticipates and takes into consideration that litigants would file ACJC complaints against judges in order to form shop or judge shop. So the first thing that you're here for is for me to tell you these matters are going to be heard here in Passaic County before me, despite the fact that you filed an ACJC complaint against him.
To respond to that?
Sure.
So, he had to tell me to my face that he, despite my ACJC case, he's going to keep the cases in Passaic County. Here's my response.
When I filed a complaint in Paterson Municipal Court, they wanted to move it. And I told them, don't move it, because I want you to be responsible for the actions that you made. They insisted that they wanted to remove it. Even though I had a Title 58 complaint against the city, they said we have to move it. And I said, no, I don't want you to move it. I didn't file this to remove you. I filed it to make sure that my complaint, what I addressed to this court, was heard, despite you being on this case. You issued an order to me without hearing any complaints or an appeal from Judge Miola. You decided on your own that my cases were frivolous, and I was filing cases against people who just disagrees with me. This book prohibits me from filing cases against judges who disagrees with me. I am not a stupid man. So I just want to say for the record, because you made a predetermined decision against me without hearing the appeal, that I'm a frivolous filer.
What appeal is it? What appeal?
I'm appealing Judge Miola's decision. I filed an appeal.
He already made a decision that there was no probable cause.
But I filed an appeal against that.
How do you do that? Like, in other words, the state doesn't, when the state files for...
All right, I'm going to stop him there for a second. So this is what is happening. If you are a plaintiff in a case, or you are the defendant, and you didn't like the decision that a judge made, you have the right to appeal to a higher court. He is saying, this is the administrative judge, he is saying, what appeal? I didn't know you can file an appeal. He is confused. He is thinking that once they dismiss the complaints that I have, 200 of them, under a probable cause hearing, it's not an actual case, there's no defendants yet, I have no right. He didn't think I had a right to appeal a probable cause hearing, only an actual case, but he was wrong. He was wrong. This is the assignment judge wrong. It was appealed, filed in his, not in his court, but in his jurisdiction, and he doesn't know it. So he's now shocked that I did an appeal. He thought they were just going to bully me, take away my rights, punish me, and I wasn't going to appeal it. But I did. Fact is, it has to go to him, and then I have to take it to the Supreme Court. But I got to get it past him first. So this is this little confusion right here.
Probable cause is denied. They're going to appeal of that. A defendant who has probable cause against them has a right of appeal.
I'm asking a high court to look at the decision.
What facts differ from...
I don't want to discuss that, Judge. I want to discuss it with the court.
No, you're asking me why that order says what it says. Well, there were over 200 complaints where a municipal court judge, after a hearing, decided that there was no probable cause and imposed financial costs upon you. And $33 per complaint.
Right. Well, you didn't consider
despite the fact you continued to file complaints after that.
Right. So if you
so the law states, if you take a look at that case that's cited in that order, it's...
I'm about to tell him my ACJC complaint is none of his business, because he's trying to use everything that I have against him to try to get rid of these Paterson officials' cases. Listen to this.
Is that the assignment judge has to wait and see if the financial sanctions, so to speak, prevent the complainant from filing additional complaints. That didn't happen in your case. You continue to file them. Then you file an ACJC complaint against Judge Miola.
But that's their business to look at that. That's not your business to address that with me. That's between me and them. That has nothing to do with you, like you said. You said that has nothing to do with you, and you're correct. That's between me and the ACJC for them to look at that. But what happened here is I went to Judge, and they didn't, nobody here knows the facts of me, and the fact that he wants to bar me from speaking in the thing, that's incredible. I went to Judge Judith for 4 hours.
Right.
I opened up this book. I know I didn't just come in here and say, I don't like what they did to me in that council chamber. I didn't like what they did to me. They broke the law. And I spoke to two defense criminal attorney. And I asked him the question, let me ask you a question. An elected official only can be charged criminally when they steal money and be found out about money? And he said, no. What about a police officer? If he's violating somebody's rights and he hurt them, isn't he charged as well? And I went with that. I didn't just crazy guys come and file complaints. I asked people questions. That's why I was sued for $2 million and I won, because I stay with the law. So I said, tell me, how do I frame this with this law? And he walked me through it. The criminal attorney was over to me.
Okay, this goes on to where he questioned the two attorneys that I got advice from, and you're going to hear that at the end. And then he continued to say only a judge can make the decision, not attorneys, on probable cause hearing. And I said yes. And Judge Judith Akadi did. She was the judge who made the decision that this was not a civil case, this was a criminal case, and she authorized the charges. So everything he said, I came back to him, and let's see, you gave, and I accused him of giving them the idea, so let's get to that part.
I just vetoed them with all of them in power, and I was very disturbed that you were trying to give him a defense by saying, well, this may not be criminal charges. These are criminal charges. This book says if...
I accused him of giving them the defense, saying it's not criminal charges, and I'm telling him it is criminal charges, and I raised the book up for him again. So I'm going to do some little points. Let's see, 2020. Okay.
The defense attorneys will be fair.
I guarantee you, this case is going to be dismissed if you don't know my state of mind and what law and what action did they violate in order for that you to rule that, look, this guy had a right to speak at that microphone.
Okay, so here's my prediction. I am predicting right now, and this is going to go way before it was September 21st today, 2017. The hearing is October 18th. Just as I predicted, when they grabbed my cases from Judge Judith Akadi, and they dismissed it to punish me because it was the Democratic officials, I am predicting right now that even after this judge issued that they go to grand jury, they're going to find some legal basis to twist it to a civil complaint, because he already gave them the answer that he wants to do it. The prosecutor, if it gets past him, if maybe he sees this video, and he knows enough of you share this video, and people are watching their corruption, the prosecutor is going to get it. She's going to do the same thing at the grand jury. She's going to take them before the grand jury, and let me tell you something. Me testifying before a grand jury, they always try to muzzle the witness. And then they bring out the elected officials to slam me. And then she's going to tell the grand jury, where I can't see unless I get transcript, and it's expensive, that maybe it's a civil case. That's all she had to say to a grand jury. That's why they're trying to spin a criminal case. If every time you get charged with a criminal case, it comes up and it says, let's make it a civil case, and maybe we can throw it out. That's the twist here. I remember somebody that I know was charged. He had a financial dispute with somebody, and the guy charged him criminally for the financial dispute. And I thought that was a civil complaint, but the judge in Woodland Park said, no, it's a criminal complaint. This is too. This is a criminal complaint. Judge Akadi says it's a criminal complaint. They're going to try to undermine her. They want to undermine her to make it civil so they can aid these Paterson officials in Democratic Passaic County. So this is what just happened between me and him, and I'm saying, you're going to dismiss it. So I said it. This is what their plot is. This is what their plan is. If I file more cases, they're going to take it and go, well, no, well, no, well, no. They're trying to filter me now. So I can't go to Paterson and file a claim if they beat me up. Even if they slap me in the face, McCoy assaulted me, I can't do that, because when I go before him, well, I don't think that's assault. I just think that, he accidentally bumped into you. Watch what's going to happen. They're doing everything they can to protect these elected officials. The question that everybody's asking me, why is this case still in Passaic County? Why? So I'm going to play a few more things. Actually, I'm going to mention it. At 2220, I said it was going to be dismissed, and I'm showing you why they're going to dismiss it, and why I repeated my complaints. And only judges can determine probable cause. Let's see a little about that, 3020, which is...
Before you every day.
It doesn't matter. I don't care who they are. The only person that can, Mr. Baldeo, the only person that can make a determination whether a criminal complaint for official misconduct can be filed against a council person under those facts that you stated is a court. That's
Thank you for saying that.
Well, that's for another day.
And that's what happened. I went to judge a party with that. I took the law, I took what they did. I would agree with you here. I agree with you. And I went before Judge Akari. Right. And she agreed with me. Right. You know what it's like to sit before a judge for 4 hours?
And you're going to get your day in court on that.
So he's trying to catch me. So he's saying that these attorneys you listen to them, they don't count. Only a judge can decide probable cause. And I caught him. And I said, I agree with you. Judge Akari did. She found probable cause. And now he goes, and you're going to get your day in court. That's not what you were saying before. So every time he said something, I was able to come back. I was a little passionate about it because I was angry because I know their intent is to protect the Paterson officials at all cost. That's what I know. So he says only a judge can. Judge did. So what's your problem here? Let's go to grand jury. So 3530, I'm talking about the prosecutor, how she's going to throw my case. I want to put this out to the public so you can see before. I like to do stuff before, because if you do stuff after the fact, you're like a Monday morning quarterback. That's why when I accused the judge before he dismissed my 200 cases, I knew there's something wrong here. I know that you're going to violate my rights, and I'm telling you not to, and you did it, and you got the charge. Now they're trying to use that to punish me. No, you're wrong. So this is me talking about the prosecutor.
Cases from Pompton Lakes, there's going to be a motion to dismiss that's been filed by the defense attorneys. Now, the prosecutor is going to be, I think for lack of a better word, the prosecutor represents the state, but represents you. So
she doesn't, Judge. I have slammed her for being in bed with them publicly. When she has a public meeting, Judge, she can't.
Now, I am making an objection to the prosecutor in Passaic County, Camille Valdez. And this is going out before their ruling on October 18th. Their whole scheme is to dismiss the cases against the Paterson officials on October 18th. That's their whole scheme, okay? So now I'm telling, I pointed out all the faults. I pointed out this Judge Ernest Caposela is in conflict. Judge Miola is in conflict. The case is in conflict. The entire court is in conflict. You know, I have a ACJC case against him in conflict. So now I'm saying the prosecutor is in conflict. The reason I'm putting this out first is because what they're going to try to do is say, Mr. Baldeo never expressed this to us. He never told us anything about this. Now he's bringing it up after we dismissed the 7 complaints from the council member. And now you better not touch the Democratic Party because we're going to get you. That's what this whole thing is about. So I'm putting it out, all the corruption I'm putting out before it happens, so you can see. You can see the final nail in the coffin is either they're going to dismiss it on the 18th or they're going to play down at the grand jury and get it dismissed there. This case will never see trial. If it was outside of Passaic County on a neutral ground, and if the probable cause went to a neutral judge, it would have gone to trial, all sets gone to trial, and they would have been convicted. But we're in a democratic country. It's one family here looking to protect each other. So let's play the prosecutor's issue.
My personal opinion, because she has a prejudice against me. Do you think she's going to pre-prejudice?
I can't prejudge that.
All right. He says he can prejudge, right? But didn't he prejudge me? He prejudged me without hearing my case that Judge Miola ruled against me and just went with his word that it's frivolous and quarantining him. Wasn't that prejudging? Because you didn't see what happens in the complaint that I filed, did you? No. You didn't see all the amount of evidence that I presented to Judge Miola? No, you didn't. You prejudged me without seeing the evidence on his word, but now he's saying he can't prejudge the prosecutor and what action she would take. He wants to see her evidence, but he didn't want to see mine. This is amazing.
I can't prejudge that.
So let me just say for the record that the prosecutor has a prejudice against me. So when she comes here and she fails to prosecute this case, I know why. The court knows why. And to say this, Judge, when I went to the grand jury, I was the grand jury, and he is inside there with the grand jury before me with a video that belongs to me.
Okay, there's another case that the prosecutor had with Councilman Andrew Sayer, and I, when I filed charges against him. We went to the grand jury. She has him inside the grand jury with my video that they downloaded from online, didn't authenticate it. The real video I have of how he assaulted me at a Muslim event, and he used his Islamic background for them to remove me and his official power. They had him there in the grand, it was my grand jury. I'm supposed to testify and talk about his crime. Instead, he's in there talking about I'm a bad guy. By the time I got in, they hated me, and I just told him that, and let's see if it's still there.
I have all kind of writings on it. Did you authenticate the video before he brought it in and you presented it to the grand jury? She didn't do that. So I go to the grand jury, and the grand jury looking at me like I'm stupid. Oh.
So, this is what they do to protect the elected officials. I wanted to play this video with a conversation I had with this administrative assignment judge, the big guy. I confronted him. I was very passionate. My voice was going all over the place. Not all over the place, but it sounded a little, it's got to be the microphone, so I don't know. But I was ordered into court. I spoke my mind, and I thought I was going to get arrested because they're going to try to use stuff I know against me. So right now I'm not allowed to file a complaint anyway. Even I've never filed a civil complaint against the city. I've never sued the city. So he even put that in there. Then I read his letter out. You're going to hear that. You said I'm banned from here. You're saying I'm banned from there. You're saying that, matter of fact, your order is to the entire New Jersey. But you don't have any jurisdiction outside of Passaic County. He says, well, I said vintage. He didn't say vintage at all. He just said the county. So I said, oh, you got jurisdiction. I know he can't. He cannot go outside of Passaic County, but he's acting like he does. So all this big charade is to stop me and to punish me for filing the complaints against the Paterson officials because they're here to protect them. Where's the Republicans' head? Even Governor Christie's a Republican. Even Kim Guandana, who's a prosecutor. Why don't you see the corruption? Why don't you come down here? Why don't you send your guys to investigate this? I know you're running for public office, but you still run the county. You still can contact the AG. I wrote to the AG, but I have to give them more information. I had 3 hours with the FBI on September 19th before I met with this guy. I gave them a whole bunch of information to show you the corruption on these judges. And the final thing is, why is my case with Democratic officials in the city of Paterson who support the Democratic county, get them votes and support them? Camille Valdez standing next to John Curry with the entire team of Paterson. Why is the case still here? Why? Somebody has to answer that. Somebody has to look at my case and see what they have done to it, to destroy it, to block me, to ban me from telling you the truth, telling me the evil that these Paterson officials, I have showed you the law. I will read it again to you. Official misconduct is if I have a benefit or a right and they use their power to deprive me of that right. It's a criminal act, but they're trying to spin it to save them into a civil act. So here it is again. Official misconduct is a public official, which is the 7 council members, now the 9, is guilty of official misconduct when with purpose to obtain a benefit for themselves. I was not for them to get reelected. That was the benefit. Getting reelected, $41,000. Or another, getting their friends reelected. Or injure or deprive another of a benefit. Injure or deprive me, the press, of a benefit of being recognized and having the right to speak at that microphone when you saw their 2 cronies speaking. That's the case right there. There's another video. There's another angle that shows you them laughing, mocking me. But as a citizen, as the press, I don't have that right in Paterson. This is Little North Korea, by the way. Paterson is Little North Korea, and this is how they run their show, and you can't say anything, and the press cannot speak up. But I still am trying to understand, where is the federal protection? Where is the Attorney General's office who told me if this was happening to contact him? And 50 people on my behalf contacted him and no response, because he knows that Phil Murray needs Paterson too. Phil Murray, if he goes after Paterson, Phil Murray is not going to reappoint him to his position or people in that office. This is politics. It's not bravery in the law. It's not the right thing. It's politics. And that's what we're dealing in the city of Paterson, Passaic County, and New Jersey. corrupted to the core. So I'm just waiting for the final nail in the coffin, and then I can prove my corruption is not theory. It's real. And this is what happens to press that report corruption. This is Sirrano, New Jersey Pulse. Thanks for watching, and bye for now.
All rise.
I thank you. Please be seated. All right. Mr. Baldeo, you can come up and sit at the council table.
Does it read the right spot?
Yes. All right. Have a seat, Mr. Baldeo. All right, so we have, I really want to just use this as a case management conference so that I can see what cases are filed and the categories that the cases fall into. And so I have my assistant division manager here. So one category of cases, Mr. Baldeo, are cases out of Pompton Lakes where 7 cases were approved by Judge Accardi as to probable cause. Okay. And I think what at least one lawyer has filed, Mr. Del Russo, on behalf of Councilman Saya, has filed a motion to dismiss on that. So I think the best thing to do with those is we'll have to set a hearing date for those 7 cases to see how we're going to progress with those, because probable cause has already been established on those by Judge Accardi.
Honor, if I may be heard on that.
Sure.
Victor Holinsky Jr. of the law firm of Stills, Cummins & Grossman. I'm here on behalf of Councilman McCoy. I don't have, first of all, I don't have all the complaints in this matter yet. We've requested them, but I'm...
We have them. Do we have them, Stacey?
Your Honor, some of
The
those
7?
some are still with PIC and some are with grand jury, so
Yeah, they're
I
all
do
going to
not
be
have
consolidated here. So the 7, we'll call them the 7 complaints out of Pompton Lakes. Not that they have anything to do with Pompton Lakes, but the municipal court judge.
Yeah, clearly.
Those will be, those we're going to set down for a hearing. At least on the ones where the lawyers have requested have filed motions to dismiss.
I would be joining that motion, but prior to that, the concern I have is I'm not familiar with the process of how probable cause was found. My client wasn't notified, I wasn't there.
Right.
And I'm concerned that the charges that I've looked at, I don't understand the basis for the probable cause.
Well, I mean, that's the motion to dismiss. I mean, that's what we're going to...
But what I was going to do, and again, I'll take Your Honor's lead, is I was going to ask for a reconsideration of the finding of probable cause.